Ava slammed the apartment door with all her strength, but Ji-hoon's foot jammed it open, his dark eyes locked on hers through the narrow gap. "You can't shut me out now, Ava," he said, his Korean accent sharp with desperation. She shoved harder, her palms burning against the wood, voice cracking like thunder. "You lied about everything. Marcus told me you'd ruin me, and I didn't listen. Now get out before I call the cops." His hand shot through the crack, fingers wrapping around her wrist, not hard enough to bruise, but firm enough to stop her from slamming it again. "Marcus is the liar, Ava. If you don't let me in, they're coming for both of us tonight." Her heart hammered so loud it drowned out the city noise outside. Who was this man she had given her heart to? What exactly had she walked into? Phew, if that opening just hit you like it hit me the first time I heard this story, do me a favor right now, hit that subscribe button so you never miss the next twist, smash the like button if your stomach is already in knots, and drop in the comments the city you're watching from and what time it is there. I read every single one, I promise. Alright, let's dive back in. Ava yanked her wrist free, but Ji-hoon was already pushing inside, kicking the door shut behind him with his heel. She backed up fast, grabbing the first thing her hand touched, a heavy ceramic mug from the counter. "Don't come near me," she warned, holding it like a weapon. "I mean it, Ji-hoon. Marcus showed me the texts. You used him to get to me. You used my brother to worm your way into my life." He didn't flinch. Instead he stepped closer, palms up, voice dropping to that velvet tone that had always undone her. "Your brother came to me first, Ava. He owed my investors $50,000. I paid it off because he begged me, said it was for you, for your loans, for your mom's hospital bills last year. But yes, I saw you at the hospital that night and I wanted you. I won't lie about that part. Not anymore." She laughed, but it came out broken. "Wanted me? You don't want me, Ji-hoon. You want control. You paid my bills without asking, you showed up at my shift every night like you owned the place, and now Marcus is in the hospital because of whatever deal you dragged him back into. They warned me, my coworkers, my best friend, even the charge nurse. That rich Korean guy? He'll ruin you, Ava. Men like him always do." I laughed in their faces. "Look at me now." His jaw tightened, but he didn't yell back. That was the worst part, the way he stayed calm while everything in her screamed. "Marcus went behind my back to the same investors I cut ties with. They beat him because he tried to double-cross them after I already paid his debt. I was trying to protect you both. That's why I'm here bleeding from the side he got me caught in the middle of." Ava's eyes dropped to the dark stain spreading across his white shirt. She hadn't noticed it in the panic. Her nurse instincts kicked in before she could stop them. "You're hurt," she whispered, then caught herself. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not patching you up so you can lie to me again." But he was already pulling his shirt up, revealing the shallow gash along his ribs. "Then call the police, Ava. Tell them the man who paid your rent for 6 months and made you feel safe for the first time in years is the villain. Do it. But when they ask why your name is on the wire transfer that funded the deal Marcus just tried to steal from, what are you going to say?" Her stomach dropped. "What wire transfer? I never signed anything. You signed the loan consolidation papers I brought you last month. The ones that cleared your student debt and your mother's final bills. My lawyer routed it through my company account. Legally it's clean for you. But the investors I cut out? They don't care about legal. They care that your name is now attached to the money that disappeared from their books." The mug slipped from her fingers and cracked on the floor. "You set me up." "No," he said, stepping closer again, close enough that she could smell the faint metallic scent of blood mixed with his cologne. "I tried to save you. But I should have told you the truth that night in the hospital when you stitched my arm after the car accident. Remember? You told me you didn't date patients, and I said I wasn't a patient anymore the second I walked out that door. I came back every night for 2 weeks until you finally let me take you to dinner. That's when I knew I was already in too deep." Ava's back hit the kitchen counter. She couldn't breathe. You made me fall in love with you while you were hiding this. While my own brother was drowning because of the same world you live in. I love you too, he said, and for the first time his voice cracked. That's why I'm here instead of on a plane back to Seoul where my family can fix this with one phone call. They want me home. They want me to marry the daughter of their biggest investor and forget the black nurse in Chicago who made me want a different life. But I told them no. So now the investors I left behind are coming for the easiest target, me through you. A loud knock rattled the door. 3 sharp bangs. Chicago PD. Open up. Ava froze. Ji-hoon's eyes widened. They're not real cops, Ava. Not this fast. It's them. Her hand hovered over her phone. Then I should let them in. Or you let me stay and we figure this out together, he said, voice urgent. Because if they take me tonight, the next knock is for you. And I won't be here to stop it. The knocking grew louder. Ms. Thompson, we know you're in there. Open the door or we'll come in. Ava's mind spun. Every warning, every late-night conversation where her best friend had said, girl, he's too intense, too rich, too foreign, he'll leave you broken, echoed in her head. But so did the memory of Ji-hoon showing up at 2 a.m. with her favorite takeout after a 12-hour shift, never once complaining when she made him wait while she studied for her certification exam. Never once making her feel small for wanting to stand on her own. She grabbed his arm. Bathroom. Now. Don't make a sound. He didn't argue. The second the door clicked shut behind him, she opened the front door, heart in her throat. 2 men in plain clothes stood there, neither wearing badges. Ms. Thompson? Yes? We're looking for Ji-hoon Kim. We have reason to believe he's involved in a fraud investigation tied to your hospital's records. Mind if we come in? She forced a smile that felt like glass. He's not here. Haven't seen him since yesterday. The taller man's eyes scanned the room, landing on the cracked mug. You sure about that? Because his car is parked 2 blocks away. I said he's not here, she repeated, voice steady even as her knees shook. And if you're not real police, you need to leave before I call the real ones. The men exchanged a look. The shorter one smirked. Tell him his time is up. And tell yourself, next time we come, we won't knock. They turned and left. Ava locked the door with trembling fingers, then leaned against it, sliding down until she sat on the floor. The bathroom door opened slowly. Ji-hoon stepped out, shirt still bloody, eyes softer than she'd ever seen them. You chose me, he said quietly. I chose not to let strangers drag you out of my house, she corrected, but her voice wavered. Don't read more into it. He knelt in front of her, careful not to touch her until she looked at him. I read everything into it, Ava. Because you're the strongest woman I've ever met, and you still let me in. Even when your brother told you I'd destroy you. She met his gaze, tears finally spilling. Marcus is in the hospital because of you. Don't twist that. He's there because he chose greed over family. I chose you over everything, my company, my family's empire, the life they planned for me in Seoul. I chose the woman who told me on our 3rd date that she would never depend on any man, no matter how much he offered. And I still offered because I wanted to watch you rise, not because I wanted to own you. Ava wiped her face, angry at the tears. Then why hide the wire transfer? Why not tell me the money came from the same investors who just sent fake cops to my door? Because I knew the second I told you, you'd push me away. And I was right. You're pushing right now. His hand hovered near hers, not quite touching. But I'm still here. And I'm still bleeding. So either stitch me up or let me bleed out on your floor, but decide fast. Because those men will be back before sunrise. She stared at him for a long moment, the push and pull so fierce it felt like her chest would split. Then she stood. Sit on the couch. I'll get my kit. But this doesn't mean anything, Ji-hoon. This is just, What nurses do. He sat, watching her every move as she fetched the bag from the closet. It means everything. Because you could have opened that door wider and let them take me. You didn't. The silence stretched while she cleaned the gash, her hands steady even though her heart wasn't. Remember the night you first kissed me? She asked suddenly, voice low. In the hospital parking lot after my shift. You said, I don't care what anyone says about us. I only care what you say. I told you my friends thought you were trouble. You smiled and said trouble was worth it if it came with me. I still mean that, he whispered. Her fingers paused on the bandage. But now trouble has my name on a wire transfer and fake police at my door. So maybe my friends were right. Maybe, he agreed, then caught her wrist gently when she started to pull away. But you're still here stitching me up. And I'm still choosing you over the jet my father has waiting at O'Hare. So tell me, Ava, who's really ruining who? She finished the bandage and stood back, arms crossed. I need air. And you need to tell me the full truth before I decide whether to call Marcus's phone or call a real lawyer. He nodded once. Full truth. But not here. They'll be watching the building. My car's 2 blocks away. We leave in 5 minutes or we don't leave at all. Ava grabbed her coat and keys without another word. They slipped out the back stairwell, hearts pounding in sync. The night air hit her face like a slap, but she kept moving, Ji-hoon right behind her, one hand lightly on her lower back, protective, not possessive. When they reached his black sedan, he opened the passenger door first, then slid behind the wheel. Where are we going? She asked as the engine purred to life. Somewhere they won't look tonight. Then we talk. Really talk. The car pulled away from the curb just as headlights appeared in the rearview, 2 sedans turning onto her street. Ji-hoon's grip tightened on the wheel. They're early. Ava's phone buzzed in her lap. Unknown number. She answered on speaker. Marcus's voice came through, weak and slurred from whatever pain meds he was on. Ava, don't trust him. He set me up to take the fall so he could get close to you. The investors, he still works for them. He's using you as cover. Ji-hoon's jaw clenched so hard she heard his teeth grind. Tell your brother I paid his debt with clean money. The rest he did to himself. Marcus laughed bitterly through the phone. Clean. Ask him about the patient records he had you pull last month. Ask him why those names matched the investors' shell companies. You're already ruined, sis. Walk away before he finishes the job. The line went dead. Ava stared at the phone, then at Ji-hoon. Patient records? Ji-hoon, I never pulled anything for you. His eyes stayed on the road, but his voice was tight. You logged into the system while I was in the room. I asked you to show me how the charting worked. I watched you type your password. I didn't ask you to pull anything specific, but the system logged your access. The investors have that log now. They're using it to claim you helped move patient data for blackmail purposes. The car swerved slightly as her world tilted. You watched me log in, and said nothing? I didn't know they'd use it this way. I swear on everything I have left. She laughed once, sharp and painful. Everything you have left includes my career. My license. My freedom. You really did ruin me, didn't you? He pulled into a quiet side street and killed the engine, turning to face her fully. No. I fell in love with a woman who fights for everything she has. And I fought the wrong way to keep her safe. I see that now. But I'm still fighting. For us. Tell me what you need me to do, turn myself in, fly back to Seoul and never contact you again, or stay here and burn every bridge I have left to fix this. Your choice. I'm done making decisions for you. Ava's chest heaved. The power imbalance that had always simmered between them, his money, his connections, his calm control, cracked wide open. He was handing it all to her. And it terrified her more than the fake cops. I need time, she whispered. And I need you to stop bleeding on my couch while I figure out if I can ever trust you again. He reached for her hand, stopping just short. Then we get a room at the first motel off the highway. Separate beds. I'll sleep on the floor if you want. But we stay together tonight because those men don't care about separate beds. They care about leverage. She nodded once, barely. They drove in silence until the neon sign of a roadside motel blinked into view. Inside the room, 2 queen beds, nothing fancy. Ji-hoon sat on the edge of the far one while Ava paced. Talk, she ordered. From the beginning. No more half-truths. He ran a hand through his hair, looking suddenly younger than his 29 years. I came to Chicago 2 years ago to expand the family tech firm. Legitimate on paper, AI medical software. But my father's partners in Seoul wanted to use the hospital contracts for data harvesting. I refused. They sent threats. I met Marcus at a poker game he couldn't afford. He owed them. I paid his debt to get him out, but really I did it because the first time I saw you at County General, you were yelling at a doctor twice your size for ignoring a patient's pain. I thought, that's the kind of woman who could stand next to me when I finally cut my family loose. Ava stopped pacing. So you used my brother as an excuse to get close to me? Yes. And then I fell so hard I forgot the excuse mattered. Every date, every late-night talk on your couch, every time you laughed at my terrible American slang, I meant it. All of it. When I paid your loans, I told myself it was just help. But I knew it would tie you to me. I was scared you'd wake up one day and realize a broke nurse from the South Side didn't need a complicated Korean heir with enemies. She sat on the opposite bed, facing him. I never needed your money. I needed you to see me as an equal. Not a project. I do see you as an equal, he said fiercely. That's why I'm terrified. Because equals can walk away. And if you walk away tonight, I lose the only person who ever made me want to be better than the man my father raised. The silence stretched, heavy with everything unsaid. Ava's phone buzzed again. This time a text from an unknown number. Your brother just signed a statement naming you and Kim as co-conspirators. Hospital security is at your apartment now. You have 1 hour to turn yourself in before we release the patient logs. She showed him the screen. Ji-hoon's face went pale. They got to Marcus faster than I thought. He's scared. He'll say anything. So what do we do? Ava asked, and for the first time her voice held no anger, just raw exhaustion and the stubborn strength that had carried her through every hardship before him. Because I'm not running forever, Ji-hoon. And I'm not letting them take my license without a fight. He stood, crossing the room in 2 strides, and this time she didn't back away when he cupped her face. We go public. I call my father and tell him I'm marrying the woman I love, right here in Chicago, no arrangement, no soul. I release my own records showing the investors' fraud. It'll ruin the company, but it'll clear your name. And if you say yes, I'll spend the rest of my life proving I never wanted to ruin you. I only wanted to be worthy of you. Ava's breath caught. His forehead rested against hers, the closest they'd been since the nightmare started. You're asking me to marry you in the middle of this mess? I'm asking you to let me fight beside you instead of for you. Marry me or don't. But stay and fight. That's all I'm begging for. Her hands came up to his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart under the bandage she'd placed there. The push and pull had never felt so sharp, love and betrayal, safety and danger, independence and the terrifying desire to lean on someone just once. Before she could answer, her phone rang again. This time the caller ID read, County General HR. She answered on speaker. Ms. Thompson, this is an emergency suspension notice. Your access logs show unauthorized patient data pulls tied to an ongoing federal investigation. You are not to report to work until further notice. And, there are 2 gentlemen here from the U.S. Attorney's Office asking for you. The line went dead. Ji-hoon's eyes met hers, wide with the same fear she felt. They're at the hospital already. My father must have tipped them to force my hand. Ava stood slowly, grabbing her coat again. Then we're done hiding. We drive to the hospital right now. I'm not losing my job because I loved the wrong man. And if you're coming with me, you better be ready to tell them everything, starting with the fact that you watched me log in and never warned me. He grabbed his keys, but paused at the door. Ava, if we walk in there together, my family will know I chose you over them. There's no going back. She looked at him, really looked, the man who had both saved her and endangered her, the man whose accent still made her stomach flutter even now. Good. Because I'm done believing what they told me. I'm believing what I see. And right now I see a man who's finally letting me choose. They stepped out into the night together. But as Ji-hoon started the car, another text lit up her phone, this one from Marcus. They offered me immunity if I testify against you both. I'm sorry, sis. But he really did ruin us. Ava stared at the screen, then at Ji-hoon, whose face had gone completely still. The hospital lights glowed in the distance. Sirens wailed somewhere behind them. She reached over and took his hand anyway. Drive faster. We're finishing this tonight, one way or another. But just as the car accelerated, Ji-hoon's own phone rang through the Bluetooth. The voice that filled the car was older, colder, speaking in rapid Korean before switching to accented English. Son. Your plane is waiting. Bring the girl if you must. But if she steps foot on our property, her brother won't be the only one in the hospital. And her nursing license will be the least of her worries. The line clicked off. Ava's grip on his hand tightened until her knuckles whitened. Ji-hoon looked at her, eyes blazing with a mix of love and fresh terror. That was my father. He's here. In Chicago. And he just declared war on us both. The hospital loomed ahead, lights flashing red and blue in the parking lot, real police this time. Ava's heart slammed against her ribs as she realized the choice she'd just made might cost her everything she'd fought for. She turned to Ji-hoon, voice steady despite the storm inside. Then we walk in there together and show him exactly who he's dealing with. But Ji-hoon, if this ends with me losing my license, my freedom, or you, promise me one thing. Anything, he breathed. Promise me you won't let them ruin us without a fight. He leaned across the console and kissed her, hard, desperate, full of every unsaid word between them. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against hers again. I promise. But Ava, my father never loses. And right now, he's already inside that hospital waiting for us. The car rolled to a stop at the entrance. 2 federal agents stepped forward as the doors opened. Ji-hoon squeezed her hand one last time. Whatever happened next, one thing was brutally clear. The man they warned her about had just become the only person standing between her and total destruction. And she was still holding his hand when the agents asked for their names. To find out if Ava's love survives this final betrayal, or if Ji-hoon's family finally tears them apart, make sure you're subscribed right now with notifications on, because part 2 drops soon and it's going to break your heart in the best way. Drop "I'm ready for part 2" in the comments if you're Team Ava all the way, and tell me, what would you do if the man you love just cost you everything? I'm reading every comment. See you in the next one.